We're going to talk a little bit about Gen Z. We're going to talk a little bit about social media, and I'm going to throw in some debate questions for you as well. Our guest is from Syracuse University. He's been on all the Fox shows. He is a campus correspondent for the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform. Danielle Idfresne joins us now. And let me get, well, first off, let's talk about Gen Z for a second before we talk about the debate. I wanted to get your input on some of that. So Gen Z and social media are a very interesting mix. Social media is everywhere. Gen Z has some fairly interesting opinions because I've seen reports go either way that this is like the most conservative generation, and I've also seen that this is like the craziest, most liberal generation. What is your experience?
Hi, first, thank you for having me. I believe that social media and politics, especially politics within social media and within our classrooms, are definitely polarizing our generation. I would say that the loud segment of our generation seems to be way more left. Not seems to be, there are more left, but there's many Gen Zers out there who don't really care much for politics, and they try to keep their heads down as they navigate a world where in their classrooms they're inundated with political messaging. Online they get harassed for not sharing their views at sometimes, and other times sharing their views and that not being the sort of de facto political views of those around them. And so social media and politics in the classroom has really divided Gen Z, and that's probably why you're seeing a lot of the mixed messaging on whether Gen Z is more conservative or progressive.
It's a fascinating discussion. An opinion piece in the New York Post about how politics and social media are ruining young people and fueling online harassment. So this is like the bonfire, the dumpster fire, even on the internet of the political discourse on social media, where anybody can make an account and say pretty much anything about anybody, and suddenly it's very easy to throw around labels like you're a racist or a xenophobe or a homophobe, and the words don't mean anything anymore because they're thrown around so often.
Yes, I 100% agree with you, and we don't talk enough about how Gen Z has been wading through this landscape for almost half our lifetimes now. A remark I made within the opinion piece, how, for me personally, in my personal experience, the first time I've encountered politics inadvertently was in the seventh grade after Donald Trump won the election. And a lot of the teachers there, they sort of had this emotional town hall where it was really just anti-Trump rhetoric the entire time. And now I'm in a position where I'm very aware of politics, which is part of the reason why I wrote the New York Post op-ed. But as a seventh grader, I didn't really appreciate it. And that's the case for many other Gen Zers. And not only that, a lot of people my age spend a lot of their time during a day online. And so it's not hard to imagine a scenario where you're getting inundated by ideologically driven, maybe professors if you're in college, and sometimes teachers in K to 12 education. And you come home, and a lot of the time we're on our devices. And if you express an opinion that is not liked by others in your friend group, you may be harassed, and you may end up becoming more radicalized by some of the political content you see online.
Danielle Idfresne is joining us on 710 KURV. He's got an op-ed in the New York Post, how politics and social media are ruining young people. Ain't that the truth? But how is Gen Z viewing this election that's fast approaching here? I know that at least I've seen discussion that it's about the vibes in this election, because there's nothing more important in a presidential candidate than vibes.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm sort of wading through that environment myself as a Gen Zer, talking to friends and seeing how we're going to seeing how we're going to react to this election. A lot of it is the vibes. I'm not going to lie to any of the people listening. For many Gen Zers, it's whoever is more likable. It's whoever can, whoever is more, I guess, charismatic online when it comes to, at least with Kamala Harris and her brat summer. And we even see Donald Trump making moves online as well. I remember he had a stream of Aiden Ross, who's a popular YouTube
Yes.
streamer. Obviously, his target demographic there was younger people, and so it's unfortunate to say, as somebody who is into politics myself and like to debate policy and whatnot, but a huge part of what younger people are looking at is this person likable, and not enough about policy, which is really unfortunate.
It was fascinating to see Donald Trump does have his fingers on the pulse. I did see that Aiden Ross and XQC was there, and he also showed up on the Paul's podcast. What was it, Impulsive, if I'm not mistaken? He found his way onto social media and all these very happening podcasts and shows and stuff. Interestingly enough, so let's get to some commentary on the debate here. So what do you think is going to happen tonight between Kamala Harris and the Golden Commander Donald Trump?
That's a pretty interesting question. All of us are waiting to see. I think that there's a lot of pressure on Kamala Harris to describe her policy positions, to give herself a name in front of the American people, including Gen Zers. I believe that she needs to give Gen Zers who already want to vote for Kamala, who are already voting Democrat. I feel like a lot of people already have sort of chosen their sides. But Kamala tonight needs to give them a reason to actually get out of their house and vote. She needs more enthusiasm, because that enthusiasm from her announcing her candidacy is starting to fade away, and a lot of people are realizing, well, we don't really know who she really is, and we haven't really paid attention, because nobody really pays attention to what the vice president is doing during any administration. And so she has the opportunity to do that tonight. And Donald Trump, he simply needs to present to the American people why the Biden administration has failed for the past 3 years, and why Kamala Harris really won't make a change or make it worse, make the American economy, crime, and immigration worse than under the Biden administration. But a lot of the pressure is not really on Donald Trump. If anything, I hope he lets Kamala sort of lose the debate herself, instead of Donald Trump sort of trying to take the debate by the reins himself and sort of screwing it up by saying more than necessary.
Daniel Idfresne is joining us on 710 KURV. He's got an op-ed in the New York Post on how politics and social media are ruining young people. And we've kind of segued into the debate that's happening tonight at 8 p.m. We can hear that on 710 KURV. Let me ask you this, and I don't mean to ask such a broad question placed upon you on the vibe that Gen Z's got right now toward these two candidates, but what are the big issues that Gen Z's talking about that are important to them concerning these two candidates?
No, that's a great question. It's really divided by gender, and we've seen some of those polls before. Some of the polls and some of the surveys on Gen Z and what they think. Gen Z politically is really split up by gender. When I talk to my female friends, and again, when you look at the polls, abortion is the most important issue for younger Gen Z female voters, but that's not necessarily the case for younger men. And a lot of younger men are turning conservative because the left has really abandoned men, especially young men, who are in a moment of their lives when they are trying to find purpose. And they're starting to take themselves seriously, and they want to, after college, if they're attending college, a lot more Gen Zers are foregoing college actually and taking on trades. But despite what path we're taking, we as a young man myself, we want to be able to provide for our future family. So we want a great economy to walk into once we're ready, and once we're in the job market, and we don't want the party that we support to demonize us. And unfortunately, in a lot of college classrooms, that's the case. And so you have this huge gender split in Gen Z, separated by gender, and the issues cannot be more different.
I did see a man on the street video. I can't remember how long ago it was, but they had interviewed two girls. One of them was from the LGBT community, and another one was kind of like a modern goth style, and she had a lot of tattoos and piercings. And they asked her, "What do you think is going to happen if Donald Trump gets elected?" And she was like, "What did she say?" She said something along the lines of that people like her were going to get banned from America. And the guy asked her, "What do you mean people like you? You know, people with like piercings and tattoos and stuff, that Trump is going to ban them from America." And I'm like, what is this? Like, where are they reading this stuff? Where is this coming from? I don't understand it. But let me allow my co-host here to get a question, and I apologize for hogging the guest, Davey. Go ahead.
Mandatory tattoo removal. That's what this was going to be, even in those inconvenient places. What do you think the Democrats do a better job of talking to and appealing to, I guess, your generation or people about your age going to college?
That's a great question. I would say the fast answer is yes. I think historically, I think since Obama since Obama ran for president, and social media really came into American life as we know it now, the Democrats were able to use social media in order to get more younger voters. But I think that there's a lot of Gen Zers who do not care about politics, and we're sort of just like most of the country. They're independents. They don't really care. They're sort of living out their own lives, and I think some of the ideology that we've seen from the left has demonized portions of Gen Z, and is sort of now creating this schism where I think that social media, I think that a lot of the Gen Zers who do care about politics, social media is not necessarily going to sway them, and those who do not care about politics will more likely be swayed by their friends than the social media posts they make. I think Democrats in the past, yes, have been better with getting that young vote, but at this point, I believe we've become so polarized that if you have an opinion on which candidate you'd rather vote for, there is no amount of social media, there's no amount of Brad Summer or impulsive, for that matter, impulsive parents that will make you change your mind. And when you really look at, some of the social media campaigns that both sides have done, they're just appealing to the same Gen Zers who would vote for them anyway. I don't think any young Gen Z man is going to, who already wants to vote for Trump, is going to look at Kamala's Brad Summer and say, wow, I really now want to vote for Kamala. And vice versa. I don't think any young Gen Z woman who cares about abortion or thinks that they will be banned from America, as you said earlier, will watch Impulsive or watch Aiden Ross. I don't think they watch them anyway, but if they stumble across their videos, I don't think that would be the defining factor that would make them vote for Trump either. Well, and so we've become so polarized as a nation that we're sort of at a stalemate. But social media does radicalize somebody deeper into their side.
Hey, Daniel,
doesn't
I hate to
necessarily mean that
cut you
social
off,
media
but
will change, make you
unfortunately,
change your
we're
opinion.
way past our time right now. And I appreciate you stopping by and talking to us from a Gen Z perspective, because I'm a millennial. Nobody cares about us anymore. Nobody cares about our opinion. It's all about Gen Z now. Thanks a lot, Daniel. Appreciate it. Daniel Idfresne is with Young Voices, and he's got an article in the New York Post, How Politics and Social Media Ruining Young People. You're listening